Thank you. We'll start seated. You want your sit bones to be even on the floor and your spine to be nice and long. It's always something. Hand placement is up to you. You can have your hands on your knees. You could have your hands on the ground if you feel like you need a little extra grounding today. Bring your awareness to your breath, breathing in and out through your nose using the full range of your lungs. Feeling your body expand front to back and side to side with the inhale. Check in with your senses. Notice any residual tastes in your mouth. Notice any smells in the room. Notice the light making its way through your eyelids and the sounds making their way to your ears. And then your sense of touch. Notice where your body makes contact with the mat. And then where your body makes contact with other parts of your body, where your legs and your feet meet, maybe where your arms touch your side body or your legs. And then the more subtle parts, where your lips meet, where your eyelids meet, where your tongue touches the inside of your mouth. Check in with your body and see how it feels today, starting at the top of your head and slowly moving your way down. Do any parts feel compressed or spacious or heavy or light or full or empty, maybe a little buzzy? No judgment, just noticing, just paying attention. Our mind can be all over the place. It can be with a news story that we read or with our favorite TV shows or worried about something that's going to happen in the future, but body can only be right here. So checking in with it like this is a great way to bring your mind to the present moment. And then speaking of the mind, we'll check in with that next. Maybe, let's see, what can we be today? Maybe we're watching a parade today. So we're seated comfortably on the side of a road, and um, the parade is going past us, and each different part of the parade represents a thought today. Some are loud, like marching bands, right? Some might be more pleasant. I guess those would be the ones throwing candy, right? I feel like I have some thoughts that are the guys in the little cars, right? That swoop around and keep going, right? That thought about something you did that you could have done better yesterday, right? Doesn't matter how many people are in your parade. It just matters that you're not in the road. It's good practice. It's how meditation has to be. No big deal. So we have a full moon coming up this week. I'm not huge into astrology. I mean, I believe in a lot of things a little bit, right? But even if you're not making decisions based on the placement of the planets, I think that it's still kind of a cool way to pay attention to some things you should probably pay attention to anyways, in a nice order. So the full moon this week is in Virgo. And Virgo, if you are a Virgo or if you know a Virgo, you might notice that they're kind of perfectionists. And so I'd like to check in on a few different websites, and one is called The Spirit Daughter. And she talks about a full moon in Virgo is a nice time to realize that not everything has to be perfect. It's only so much that you can control. And that part of living life is knowing that there are a lot of things out of your control. She says, when we try to control the outcome of every situation, we undoubtedly fail because life isn't meant to be controlled, it's meant to be lived. It's not meant to be perfect or follow some schedule that adheres to our efforts. It's messy, chaotic, and beautiful. It shows us our greatest strengths in our darkest times and gives our greatest gifts in unexpected ways. I'm a big believer that our life is reflected on our mats. And so I'd like you to remember that today, that your practice also doesn't have to be perfect. Your poses don't have to be perfect. Sometimes the greatest gifts to your body and mind can come from the awkward poses. Right? So we'll start with an awkward pose to start. Leave your left leg. So I'll mirror you now. So leave your left leg where it is. And we're going to take our left hand on the bottom of our right foot and put your right hand at the side to help hold you up. And we're just going to move around a little bit. Again, just a little bit awkward. But we're looking to use our body weight to kind of massage the right glute and get into the hip a little bit. Or you can open and shut the hip a little bit more. If you have a little more range of motion, it might be nice to bring this foot into the crook of the elbow instead of the hand. That's acceptable. Either one is correct. It might feel nice to come down on the forearm so you have a little more room to move. Not worrying about the shape you're making, just noticing how it feels in your body. And then sit back up straight. We're going to take that same leg straight out a little bit to the side. Turn the torso towards the foot. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold over that leg, taking the nose towards the knee. Not to the knee, just towards the knee. We're just going in that direction. Notice where the sensation in the body is here, right? If it's all behind the knee, what happens if you put just a tiny little bend in the knee? Does it allow you to get a little deeper into the belly of that muscle in the hamstring? Big, deep, controlled breaths. Just a couple more here. Good time to check in with your jaw. Make sure you're not holding a bunch of tension there. Push your hands down into the floor to bring yourself vertical. And we're going to switch sides. So bring that right leg in. We'll take the right hand to the left foot, set up your kickstand, and then just play. And it's okay if this side's a little different from the other. Again, you can go in the crook of the elbow if you like. You could come down to the forearm here if you like. Just looking to treat the glute muscle a bit. The glute muscles, right? They work pretty hard for you and don't get a lot of attention. Yeah, perfect. And we'll come back up to vertical, set that left leg straight and just a bit out to the side. Turn the torso towards the foot. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Keeping the top of the head nice and long so you're pulling forward and then down. Leading with the heart here. Again, if it works better in your body to put just a tiny bend in that left knee, go right ahead. Might feel your low back expand a bit on the inhale. Push your hands down into the mat to bring yourself vertical. Cross the legs, bring your hands on the mat in front of you. We're going to come into a tabletop and then make our way to the floor. Onto your belly. Bring the elbows under the shoulders. Hands push in and pull the upper body forward and up for Sphinx. So long and then light. The length is really important. The length keeps our low backs from getting too compressed here. And then let's take our right leg a bit out to the side with a bent knee. Now, some of you might have the knee pretty far down. Some of you might have the knee straight out from the hip. So just looking to open that right hip, keeping the right side of the pelvis heavy, right? So the hips are still square to the ground. You decide the intensity here. So a half frog with a Sphinx. Inhale here. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Bring your arms out to cactus on the ground and turn your head to the left. So opposite of that right knee that's out. And just let everything be heavy and relaxed. Letting gravity open your body. Soft face, soft jaw, big breaths. Turn your head towards the mat. Bring that right foot back to meet the left. And we'll bring the hands under the shoulders. Pull the upper body forward and a little bit up for a cobra. So tops of the feet push into the mat. Ribs are still on the ground. Forehead pulling forward. You can stay here in stillness, or if it feels nice on your body, you can move a little side to side, maybe even spread the hands a little bit wider than the mat. No particular shape you have to make here. We're just looking to work some kinks out of the neck and shoulders. Come back to center, bring the elbows under the shoulders. So a second Sphinx here, and this time that left leg comes out to the side with a bent knee. Pulling forward and up, letting that left hip be heavy. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, bring the arms out to cactus on the side and turn the head to the right. Resting the left cheek on the floor, again, just letting everything be heavy, getting out of the way of gravity. Turn the head towards the floor, bring the hands under the shoulders, bring that left leg in to meet the right, and we'll push up into a tabletop. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Move through a few cow cats here. So inhale, belly drops towards the mat, hips and head float to the sky. Exhale, reverse. Back of the heart floats, hips and head hang heavy. Continue movement with your breath. Inhaling, lengthening the front body. Exhaling, lengthening the back. So you can continue back and forth just like this. If you'd like to add a little additional movement, this is a nice time to do that. You could take the hips and the shoulders a little more side to side or a little more in a spiral. You can send the weight a little forward, a little back. Back to neutral, and we'll take that right leg straight back and the left arm forward. Feeling the core engaged to keep you steady. If you're feeling a little too wobbly today, that uh, the toes can still touch the ground if you like. Inhale here. Exhale, round the back and bring the knee towards the elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee towards the elbow. Inhale, lengthen. One more time, knee towards the elbow. Let's hold here. Set the right knee on the floor, set the left hand on the floor. Take the knees wide, big toes together, hips back, child's pose. Good, rest your forehead on the floor. Some of you might have chest and chin on the floor. Only if that's okay on your neck. The floor seems far away today. You can also be up on your forearms. It's a great way to do child's pose. Yeah, perfect. Make your way back to tabletop. Get a few more cow cats here. Inhaling, lengthening the front body. Exhaling, lengthening the back. A few more breaths. Again, continue to add some of your own movement if you like. Come back to neutral, and that left leg goes straight back, right arm forward. Hold the pose and breathe. Soft face. Inhale. Exhale, round the back, knee towards the elbow. Inhale long. Slow and steady and controlled here, moving with your breath. Exhale, knee towards the elbow. Inhale long. Exhale, knee to elbow and hold here with a rounded back. Set the knee down, set the hand down, push against the floor and bring yourself into a kneeling mountain pose. So knees are hips width distance, top of the head pulling towards the sky, nice and long. Shoulders relax, maybe give the shoulders a little movement, a few circles. Bring our right leg forward into a lunge. Sink the hips forward. So our goal is to bring space to the front of the left hip here, that hip flexor and all the connective tissue around it that gets short when we sit. If you're feeling a lot of stretch there, this is a great place to stay. Otherwise, if you'd like to move into a lizard, we'll take both hands to the inside of that right foot. Can tuck those back toes under and use the toes to kind of slide that left knee back. So you have a little more opening in that front of the left hip. Option to be on your forearms here, if that's safe for you. Again, just letting everything be heavy. Perfect. If you're on your forearms, come on up to your hands. From your hands, we'll take that right leg back to meet the left, back into a kneeling mountain. Tuck the toes under and the arms out to cactus. Inhale, lift the collarbones, both of them. Exhale, relax the back. Just a little camel here. Opening up the chest, opening up the shoulders. Bring yourself back to vertical. Lower the arms. Bring the left leg forward. Whatever option serves you best today. So first option is to sink the hips and stay right here. If that brings space safely to the front of the right hip, you're good to go. If you'd like a little more, take both hands to the inside of the front foot. You can inch the right knee back a little bit for a little more opening, your version of lizard. Again, option to be on the forearms here, if that's safe and feels good in your body today. Big, deep, controlled breaths here. That connective tissue that we're stretching here is tough, right? That's the stuff that keeps you upright. That's why I like to spend a little extra time here, seeing where else you can soften in this pose. All right. If you're on your forearms, make your way up to your hands. Tuck the back toes. Spread the hands apart a bit, and we're going to make our way back to a downward dog. So feet hips width distance. Fingers spread nice and wide on the mat. In a nice long line. The most important thing, a nice long line from the fingertips to the tailbone. It doesn't matter if your legs are straight or bent. It does not matter how close your heels are to the floor. Just want a long back here. Once you find that long line, if you want to add a little bit of movement to your downward dog, that can feel nice. You can take the head side to side or bend one knee at a time. Maybe come up to the tiptoes and bring the heels a little closer to the mat. Get some good cracks out of the ankles. And then we're going to make our way to the fronts of our mats. Just take a few steps. We'll come into a forward fold at the top of our mat. You could have your elbows on your knees. You could bend your knees pretty deeply, have your hands on the floor, your hands on your ankles. And let's rock a little bit front to back. Just getting into some different parts of the leg and back muscles. Root your feet into the floor and slowly roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Once you're there, hands out to the side. Long spine, relaxed shoulders. And from here, we'll take a big step back with our left leg and ground the heel. So we're going to be coming into a warrior two. Looking over that front hand. Strong arms, soft shoulders. Notice where the weight is hitting that front foot. You want it to be even left to right, right? So the knee is straight forward, not caving in or out. You decide how far the knee is bent. If it's a little closer to 90 degrees, it'll be a little more intense, a little higher, a little less. You choose. Flip the front hand, keep the bend in the knee, tip back to peaceful. This back hand can support you. Have the hand on the leg. You could have that arm hang instead. But this top collarbone is light. That lightness protects the low back and this back bend. And then from the front of the waist, we hinge forward, setting that right forearm on top of the right thigh, left arm up by the ear. So we're doing a nice long line from the left fingertips to the outside of the left foot. Keep everything the same except for your left arm. You're going to let the left arm fall forward towards the floor and then come behind you and then up, making big sweeping circles. Just getting to know that left shoulder a little bit. Be gentle. Only good feelings in that left shoulder. Switch directions. It's the same big circles, just going towards our foot from the top. And the next circle, we'll bring our torso up with it. So we're back in that warrior two. And then we'll take a big step up to the front of the mat. Mountain pose. Again, feet hips width distance. Relax shoulders, tall spine. Maybe close your eyes here for a few breaths. Really connect. See how that first warrior two lands in your body today. Open your eyes and we'll take a big step back with the right leg. Warrior two on this side. Strong arms, soft shoulders. Knee forward, not in or out. Not much has to be perfect, but we do want the knee perfectly forward. Flip the front hand. Keep the bend in the knee, tip back. Peaceful. Again, that right arm could be right on the leg, helping to support you. It might hang heavy. Collarbone light. So that left collarbone feels like it wants to float towards the ceiling. From the front of the waist, we hinge forward, left forearm on the left thigh, right arm up by the ear. Nice long line from the outside of the right foot to the right fingertips. And then going into our circles here. So let that right arm fall towards over your head and then the floor and behind you. It doesn't matter what pace. Really pay attention to the shoulder. If you find a spot that needs a little extra attention, feel free to hold it there for a breath or two. Switch directions. Notice how this feels different. Maybe your shoulder likes it a little better. Maybe it likes it a little less. Again, no pain here. Nice and slow. Next time you're coming up, bring your torso with the arm. So we're at a warrior two. We'll take a big step forward with that right leg to the front of the mat. Inhale, arms out and up, hands together, little back bend. Exhale, fold down through heart center to the floor. We'll step back just into a tabletop. Set your hips down to one side and bring your legs in front of you. So coming to a seated pose. And we'll spread the legs a little wide this time. So wider than hips width distance. Spine nice and tall. All right. Left hand to the center of the mat and right hand to the outside of the right leg. Flex the feet like you're gonna shoot a laser beam out of your heel. And then see if we can make that right leg a little lighter. Maybe it comes off the ground, maybe it doesn't. You want to make it a little less challenging, the hands could come behind you, right? That will give you a little more support, sending the weight a tiny bit back. Release when you're ready. We'll go over to the other side. And here we go. Shoot the laser beam out of the heel. Maybe lift the leg a little bit. Maybe it just feels a little lighter on the ground. Maybe you bring the hands a bit behind you if that helps. Release, come back to center, and we'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side for Baddha Konasana. Give the bottoms of your feet a little bit of love while you're right here. Like your glutes at the beginning of class, they work hard for you and they don't get enough attention. Although, you guys, I have to tell you, I just bought one of those stupid plug-in foot massager things on Amazon. Best purchase ever. It's like one of those foot massagers. It's like a whole, it's an appliance, like a heated appliance. Our electricity bill is probably going to go up, but worth it. It's amazing. Yeah. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. You might be on your hands. You might have your forearms on the ground. You might have your nose to the toes, anywhere in between. But lead with your heart. Just letting the knees be heavy here. Don't push them down, just relax them. Push the hands down into the floor to bring yourself vertical. Hands to the outside of the knees. Pull your knees together like a book. Make sure your hips are in the center of your mat lengthwise. Soles of the feet on the floor. We're gonna make our way to our backs. So you decide how long it's gonna take and how much intensity you want. You could just lay down. A little more intensity, bring the arms in front of you and slowly make your way down. Lots of control, lots of breath. Once you're on your back, bring your arms out to the side in a T. Bring the feet in a little bit closer to your hips and a little bit wider than your hips. Knees will be up towards the ceiling, and treat yourself to some windshield wipers, lowering the knees to the left and right, whatever pace feels fantastic today. Take your time. Next time your knees are to the left, hang out there. And turn the face to the right. Similar stretch to the beginning of class, just on our backs instead of our bellies this time. So letting everything be heavy and soft. If you have a different variation you'd like to do with your legs, you are certainly welcome to do that. You could stack the legs on top of each other. Some of you might even cross those legs. Bring everything back to center. More windshield wipers. Next time the knees are to the right, hang out there, turn the face to the left. Big deep breath, soft face. Bring everything back to center. And then back stretch of your choice. If you'd like to bring knees into the chest, that might feel nice. If you have a happy baby in your practice, you'd like to bring the soles of the feet towards the ceiling and grab the outsides of the feet or the backs of the thighs, you could do that. I really like to move in my back stretches. So either you can kind of rock side to side here. Maybe even take the knees in a little bit of a circle in each direction. This is also a good time to just take inventory of the body and see if there's any more poses that you're in the mood for before we get ready to relax in Shavasana for a few minutes. Take your time. All right, I brought one of my drums today and we've got a new microphone for it. So hopefully my friends online are going to be able to hear the percussion this time. So besides teaching yoga, I'm also a musician in the area, and I do sound immersions, sound baths. We do big ones at Perennial Studio in Fitchburg every couple months. Our next one is actually this Friday. We call them in vibes. So there's lots of instruments and synthesizers and guitars and vocals and that sort of thing. Begin to deepen your breath and wake up the body. The movements and the fingers and toes. Maybe turn the head side to side if that feels nice. Take a little roll over to your right side. Take a couple breaths there, breathing in the wisdom of our practice and the peace of our space, the good vibes from this hand pan. Breathing out anything you'd like to let go today. When you're ready, use your arms to support you as you make your way to your comfortable seat, hands at heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today to share your practice and your energy with me and with each other. Peace starts within. That means the whole world benefits a bit because you took the time for yoga today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Great. We'll see you next week. And again, thank you.